The government will hold its final scheduled cabinet meeting before the summer break this morning. It's widely reported that among the items on the agenda is a proposal to double the number of guests allowed at weddings. There's also likely to be further discussion of how the number of COVID patients in hospital is being measured. For more, we're joined by our reporter, Fiachra O'Kionagh. Fiachra, weddings back on the agenda. What can you tell us?
Yes, Rachel. Well, today marks the final cabinet meeting before the political summer break really kicks in. But while politicians have their minds on some time off, there are of course some issues of real importance, such as weddings, for people on the agenda. Now, at the moment, couples tying the knot are limited to 50 people at their wedding. There's been the issue's been a source of heat debate in recent days, with the Wedding International Professional Planners Association organising a protest outside Leinster House for later today, while medics have warned raising wedding numbers could increase COVID cases. Now, last week, Fine Gael leader and Taoiseach Leo Varadkar said couples should plan for 50-person weddings, but that's now likely to change. Fianna Fáil leader and Taoiseach Micheál Martin, Mr Varadkar and Green Party leader Eamon Ryan met last night and agreed in principle to increase wedding numbers to 100 on August 5th. Now, it's unclear as yet if the potential use of COVID digital certs is behind the likely change. But so long as the move is backed by Cabinet today, it will give some much needed respite for couples.
And as you understand it, Fiachra, also some other COVID related issues on the agenda this morning.
Yes. Now, in recent days, we've heard some concern from doctors about the new Delta variant's potential impact on schools in September. But Fianna Fáil TD for Kerry and Minister for Education Norma Foley will repeat to Cabinet today she has no plans to delay the new school year. Minister Foley will instead likely say to Cabinet colleagues that in addition to existing guidelines, new antigen PCR testing pilots currently underway in some colleges and childcare settings will be rolled out for school staff to limit any COVID risk. In addition, COVID vaccines will also be rolled out for school children, with 16 and 17-year-olds able to register from today, while schools will be given CO2 monitors and ventilation guidance by the department. Now, most importantly in all of this, if all these plans are agreed by Cabinet today, the Department of Education will set up a new communications campaign for schools and pupils in August to hopefully bring about some clarity for the school sector.
Staying with COVID, another issue that's been talked about a lot over the past week or so is this question of how COVID hospital cases are counted. Is this on the agenda today? Because there's a lot of interest in this.
Well, while there are no plans to raise the issue specifically by itself, it's quite likely it's going to be discussed during the general weekly COVID update discussion, which is normally led by Fianna Fáil TD for Wicklow and Minister for Health's Stephen Donnelly. Just to remind listeners, the issue has emerged after Leo Varadkar on Sunday said he'd like NPHET to no longer count someone who attends hospital for a non-pandemic reason and is then found to have COVID to be classed as someone hospitalised with COVID. Now, sources have told me while government has not sent a letter to NPHET about this, as some reports have suggested, it has instead asked NPHET to consider the change to ensure more accurate COVID figures. But not all politicians, of course, agree, with some noting the possible change would automatically reduce official COVID figures, which of course is good news for government.
Some non-COVID cabinet news. We heard about it in the bulletin a short while ago. The America's Cup possibly coming to Ireland, possibly coming to Cork. What can you tell us?
Well, yes, in basic terms, Ireland is on the final list of potential locations to hold the America's Cup sailing competition in 2024. Now, the news will be confirmed at a press conference at Cork Harbour later today, once Cabinet has been officially informed by Cork South Central TD for Fine Gael and Minister for Foreign Affairs Simon Coveney. Now, it's big news, of course, for Ireland's sailing community, but it's also big news for the rest of us due to the wider economy, with the event likely to win Ireland up to €600 million in revenue and a global audience of 1 billion people. That's, of course, if we actually win the race to hold the race, with a decision on who will actually host the event not being made until October.
Just finally, Fiachra, some other matters today likely to be under discussion. One of them relates to money, to an announcement to be made by the Minister for Public Expenditure, Michael McGrath.
Yes, so the America's Cup could bring a lot of money into Ireland, but many ministers are probably going to be focused on this separate issue. Now, Fianna Fáil TD for Cork South Central and Minister for Public Expenditure Michael McGrath will tell Cabinet colleagues today how much each department will receive from the €100 billion plus National Development Plan. Now, that's important for two reasons. One, the National Development Plan decides what kind of infrastructure projects like roads, hospitals and climate action plans government will fund between now and the end of the decade. And two, the amount of money ring-fenced for each department will decide on which projects each department decides to push forward. Now, separately, there's one other financial issue on the agenda today. That's from Donegal TD for Fianna Fáil and Minister for Agriculture Charlie McConalogue. He's expected to tell Cabinet of the need to speed up progress on the €10 billion CAP strategic plan, saying any delay could prevent €2 billion in vital support payments for Irish farmers over the next 2 years.
Fiachra, thanks a million for that. Our reporter Fiachra O'Cionnell